Do you wave your terrible towel when Renegade plays? Reach for a tasty cake when JJ shouts, "He scores!" Does the sound of an F1 engine make your heart race? Doing push-ups with a Nittany Lion after a TD? Then lend us an ear, and we will share the exhilaration of Steelers football, the excitement of Flyers hockey, the nail-biting finishes of F1, and the pride when we yell, "We are Penn State." Welcome to the SteelFlyers show, the strangest combination of sports fandom since pineapple was put on pizza. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the SteelFlyers All Sports Network, and we have got a very, very special show for you today, folks. We're going to be talking about the NFL draft. That's right. It's coming up here in a couple of days, and we just kind of want to let everybody know what we're thinking, who we think is going to go where, and maybe what order, and we're just going to go for the first round. I brought along some great people here today, folks. I got the Professor Joe Borek. How you doing, Joe?
Doing well. Always excited around draft time for any sport. That's an exciting time of the year to see the young bucks that come in and blend in with the leagues.
Exactly. And also, we got another special guest, E-Money. Hey, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm good. I'm excited to talk about the draft. We're just a few days away. Hopefully my Ravens get someone that knows how to catch a football and someone that knows how to hike a football and maybe a few other things.
Yeah, I'm here to tell you, we all have very highly vested interests in this year's draft because each one of our home teams are looking for very specific players. So, but we're going to talk about
a lot of specific players.
Yeah, right. Yes.
Yeah.
we're going to talk about the rest of the league, and we're going to get into everything. And we're going to just start off right. We're just going to go right from the start. Okay, look. Everybody knows that the top two draft picks, we already get it, but I have to say it. I have to go through the motions just because we have to do it. You know what I mean? So, all right, here we go. All right. In the first pick of the 2021 NFL draft, by the way, the draft is going to have people there. They're going to have all the first top 35 players are going to be there at the draft. They're going to do the red carpet as well. So this is going to be more of a normal draft as compared to the way it was last year, where it was all virtual, where you saw the commissioner making calls on the Zoom, you know what I mean? And then all the reaction was happening with all the people at their house. And they were sending them video cameras and stuff like that. Well, now they're all going to be in Cleveland is where it's going to be this year. So that's where they're all at, and they're going to go the red carpet and the whole 9 yards. So going to be more of a normal draft this year. So, all right. In the first round of the 2021 NFL draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Professor Joe. Give me who your number one pick is for them Jags.
It's obviously Trevor Lawrence. I mean, Brett Lewis in his mock draft put it the best way. It would go down as the biggest stunner in NFL history, pretty much, if they don't pick Lawrence, since he's already getting very acquainted with the Jacksonville area. So it would basically be, yeah, we're going to set you up with the city, but then just proceed not to draft you. So, yeah, it would be the biggest disruption in the history of sports, honestly, if he doesn't go for it.
Okay. All right. So, just because we have to. All right, E-Money, what number one pick?
I mean, it's been set in stone for the past 3 years that Trevor Lawrence is the first overall pick. He's the most hyped up quarterback prospect since Andrew Luck. So Trevor Lawrence should be an NFL Hall of Famer pretty much. That's what it's true. The highest graded quarterbacks ever in no order are Trevor Lawrence, Andrew Luck, Peyton Manning, John Elway.
Well, Peyton Manning's getting in this year.
Yeah, I mean, he's like top 3 ever. And John Elway's top 10 ever.
Okay. So. All right. I'll tell you what. He looks good. He just looks good. He is probably the most, I would say, aside from, man, I'm trying to think of any of the quarterbacks in the last couple of years that have come out that were like really NFL ready. You know what I mean? Some of those quarterbacks that have come out. Kyler Murray, you say what you want about him, but he was able to hit the field running. Lamar Jackson, he was pretty much able to hit the field running. You know, those quarterbacks that were, you know, those running quarterbacks were able to be successful earlier in their careers because they were able to run out of trouble. You know what I'm saying? So I think you get
could
kind
do
of
more with less when you're that athletic. If you're just Mac Jones, who we'll get to later, you can't do as much with less,
exactly.
unless if you're just stacked receiver wise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, all right. I agree. I think Trevor Lawrence, he's probably the best quarterback coming out of college in a long time here. So I'm going to be interested to see how that's going to go down there with Jacksonville, and especially with what they did with Minshew and all that other stuff there, too. So, going to be interesting. All right. So now we're going to go to E-Money, and we're going to go to the 2021 draft pick, New York Jets select.
I mean, this one's set in stone. It's Zack Wilson. Pretty much the first two picks are set in stone. Both of these teams should literally take 1 second to make the pick. Don't drag it out. Don't make it a fiasco. I hate it when they do that. Like, just say, look, I want Trevor. Look, I want Zack Wilson. Be done with it. Zack Wilson's the guy. He plays a lot like Josh Allen or Pat Mahomes, the way he can make ridiculous throws from like running over here and throwing it from the side of his body and all that other stuff. So that's, Zack Wilson. No brainer.
Okay. Professor Joe, what do you think Jets are going to take?
I am in 100% agreement with E-Money. I couldn't have said that any better myself. He has the athleticism, the precision, I guess could be the adjective you use, throwing on the run, and also from the pocket. I honestly think Wilson, because he has that swagger to him a little bit too, is a more controlled, immediately going to be good version of Baker, but he's also going to be better than Baker, if that makes sense. Like, he has the swagger Baker has, but he has the control to control that immediately. So he'll be good immediately, where Baker we see matured this year and had his best season. He'll be a better, if Baker was what people hyped him up to be immediately, he'll be that. Where Baker is what I think he is this year, which is still a very good quarterback. That's what I like from Wilson. I do like people that have that swagger, but also know how to control it, and he knows how to do that right from the jump while making those ridiculous throws. So he's definitely the guy that will go to the Jets, and I think Rhett Lewis said it perfectly too. They waited until, or not Rhett Lewis, excuse me, Patrick Williams said it perfectly. They waited until they knew his shoulder was good to be able to trade Darnold. So that should lock it in stone even more.
Yeah.
When Patrick Williams said that kind of stuck home with me, that they're definitely going to make that bet.
Yeah. Okay. And, I'll tell you what, just because I want to get into it a little bit, both of these two quarterbacks, very good quarterbacks coming out of college. Okay. I mean, Zack Wilson, he seems like he's more of a polished quarterback, or Trevor Lawrence seems to be more of the polished quarterback, and Zack Wilson seems to be more of the gunslinger type.
I mean, Trevor Lawrence seems like, I think it's what E-Money said. Trevor Lawrence is one of the highest graded, best graded guys of all time, like one of the most hyped guys since Luck, Manning, and Elway, where Wilson's like I said, more in that Baker range, where Baker wouldn't have been that hype if it was as stacked as this draft quarterback wise, where like I feel like he got helped by if he was in this draft, we wouldn't have been hearing as much about Baker Mayfield, in my personal opinion. I think Lawrence is kind of in that Mahomes stratosphere if he can hit it. Like, when you get that hype, like E-Money said, you're expected to almost be a Hall of Famer before you walk on the damn field.
Yeah.
So it's a little where I don't think Wilson's necessarily fully at that level. He's at we expect you to be elite.
Okay, but see, Patrick Mahomes sat for a whole year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before he started, and these guys are going to be expected probably to start right away. You know what I mean? What do you think, E-Money?
I would agree with that. I mean, no doubt about it. Those two are going to start day one. I think a lot of times, too, with these quarterbacks and just players in general, it depends on what situation they get into. Because before Pat Mahomes got drafted, speaking of him, I was like kind of iffy on him, just watching him on tape. His mechanics, in my opinion, weren't that great. And the way his footwork was, it was kind of awkward. But then once I was like, oh, he's on Andy Reid's team, because Andy Reid's very, very good with offense. And Pat Mahomes gets to sit behind Alex Smith for a year. And I mean, not that Alex Smith was anything that amazing, but it was still like a respectable veteran to learn from. So Pat Mahomes was brought right into the right situation, the right system. It just all depends on where they go. Because, I mean, Trevor's going to the Jags. They've been bad for a while. I mean, at least since they lost to the Pats in the AFC Championship about 5 years ago, whatever it was. Right. The Jets have been bad forever. So those two have a lot to like.
Yeah.
They have a lot of work to do. Now,
I'm with you on that.
Now with number 3, the 49ers, that's a good system to go right into. And I mean, that's going to come down to either Justin Fields, Mac Jones, or Trey Lance. I think the Niners are going to get Justin Fields. But one of those 3 are probably sitting there like praying, like, please draft me, Niners, please. Because they were just in the Super Bowl 2 seasons ago, barely lost to the Chiefs. They have a good offensive system. Shanahan's
great defense.
Great defense. Because you have to think, too, last year they went like, I think it was like 7-9 or somewhere around that ballpark, and they had injuries on injuries on injuries. They have a good offensive structure, pretty good O-line, good run by committee. George Kittle's arguably the best tight end in all of football. They have some pretty good young receivers. Like any one of those 3 quarterbacks should be like on their knees praying to the football gods. Before, please draft me, San Francisco. Like that is a ideal situation for any of them with Shanahan, and they could learn from Jimmy G for like a year. I mean, Jimmy G is going to get injured at some point this year too, so one of them will step in halfway through the season. I mean, let's be honest, Jimmy G's made of glass, so.
Yeah, I'm with you. What do you think, Joe, about the 3rd pick?
No, I actually, I'm surprised with the 3rd pick how many people have Jones projected there, just because, especially the reasoning goes to, well, they had Alex Smith as his quarterback at one time, and I'm like, yeah, but Alex Smith, if he has to, can skate a little bit before this career injury he had that he only came back for a few games. Yeah. Mac Jones is literally Peyton Manning in the pocket. Like, good luck trying. Like, if you don't have an O-line, like, good luck finding a way for Mac Jones to be successful immediately, unless if you turn him into Romo, where you just teach him to say, you have about 2 seconds max to say hike and fire. If you can put that into him, fine. But other than that, I think they should get Fields, not just for, they have a decent line, but even if they didn't, I would get Fields just for the reasoning you said. You took it out of my mouth earlier when you brought up the whole guys that can run and do it all and have more athleticism and take what the play gives them tend to have more success from the beginning because they can do exactly that. Take what the play gives them, and they know their arm is not fully accurate and where it needs to be yet, but it's going to get there because of how amazingly talented and work ethic oriented Justin Fields is. Those rumors about him not showing up first, they completely put down. I remember watching on NFL Network where people at Ohio said, like, that's not true. Like, that is the exact opposite. Like, this dude will be here, and then he'll be here until, like, 8 o'clock at night. So, like, he's one of those guys you want to have on your team for work ethic reason and for talent reason and for what you said. Those guys that can kind of do it all athletic-wise, and you know their arm's going to – like, Deshaun wasn't the most accurate guy when he first got in the league. He was just freakishly talented. Look how accurate and freakishly talented he is now. Yeah. So that's why I think I would get Justin Fields there and go with him. Because
somebody he can be, great system to be put in there or something like that. Okay.
And look how good Cap was in that system.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. All right, so now the number 4th pick is going to be the Atlanta Falcons. And I'll tell you what, man, they got some defensive needs here big time. But then again, they might I've also been potentially hearing that they might be shopping the quarterback too. So they might be in the market for a quarterback. I mean, who knows? You know what I mean? What do you guys think about number 4?
I'll go first on this one if that's cool. They could go one of 3 ways. They could go quarterback, get someone to succeed under Matt Ryan. I don't think that's quite the case because in my opinion, Matt Ryan probably has like 5 more years left in him. So that's still plenty of time. I think at that point, you got to build more around Matt Ryan. If I were them personally, if I were the GM or whoever makes that call, I would go after Surtain because in my opinion, he's the best defensive player in the draft and they need defense bad. But I think they'll go Kyle Pitts because he's like a god-like tight end. Like he's like the highest rated tight end to come out in forever. Like the dude has no weaknesses to his game. You can line him up in the slot. You can line him up out wide. He can pretty much walk on water at this point. So I think Atlanta makes the move on him, grabs Kyle Pitts, and then we'll just see what happens after that.
All right. Pro Joe, what do you think?
I was thinking when I first thought of the mock draft defense of the Surtain or Parsons if they want to go best linebacker route.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
But then I thought just because Matt Ryan tight ends. Austin Hooper was amazing with Matt Ryan. Obviously, Tony Gonzalez, the GOAT, was very good with Matt Ryan.
Mhm.
If there's any tight end that from how much we talked about how much Lawrence is hyped up, this dude is basically hyped up to be the next Tony Gonzalez.
Yeah.
The guy that can be the wide receiver, the guy that's a tight end but also can run receiver routes, like a 6'7" or 6'6", 250 guy that's faster and can beat the corner. That's basically how much Pitts is hyped up. So the reason I think they're going to pick him is Matt Ryan is like cheese on a bagel when it comes to pairing with tight end.
Yeah,
like he's like cream cheese on a
Cream
bagel.
cheese
Cream cheese on a bagel.
He's like,
oh man.
when it comes to pairing with tight end. Or he's like wine and cheese when it comes to like wine and any fine cheese.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
When it comes to pairing with a tight end, because he's been great. He made Hooper his best. He's still solid, but not the same away from. And then he also made Tony Gonzalez have good years at the end of his career when even he said, I loved playing with Matt Ryan. So I think
he's
for
going with the tight end. Yeah, okay. I was thinking maybe of the Surtain because the cornerback, I mean, gosh, or Parsons. I really think Parsons is going to go early, even though he sat out the year. I really think because he's that complete player. You know what I mean? He could be either that edge rusher or you can convert him to a linebacker, which he played at Penn State. You know what I mean? So he's got that thick body and he's got that speed. So if you put a couple pounds on him, he could probably play on the edge. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, but I like Surtain for that. All right. In the fifth pick, the Cincinnati Bengals select Projo.
My guy here, a lot of people have them going with Sewell. It's more from I listened to the Eagles guys and a couple other podcasts on the draft where a lot of people got me hyped up on Slater just because of his skill, but also flexibility, where a lot of people think he could start at 5 positions, whatever spot you basically need him in.
Rashawn Slater from Northwestern.
Rashawn Slater from Northwestern, where I like that flexibility and skill combined, where Sewell might have the higher ceiling if they really hit it, but you know this guy's going to come in and be able to play everywhere, where Sewell's going to be great, but more limited to where he can play. So I really like that flexibility. A lot of guys have the Bengals going with Penny. I would actually, for the flexibility purpose, along with I think their skills pretty close, go with Slater there because I really like having the ability to move a guy wherever I would need him. And O-line, we know, especially with the 17th game now, you're going to have injuries. So you're going to have a flexibility guy, and it's great to have one that has the potential to play all
can hop around. Yeah, exactly. All right, E-Money, this is in the AFC North division here, these Bengals. So what do you think, man? What do you think they're going to go?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of talk about them getting Jamar Chase to pair him with Burrow again, but you got to get Sewell. I mean, at least O-line, like Sewell is an awesome left tackle prospect, definitely one of the more hyped ones for sure. There was some stat that I read. It was his 2019 year because he missed out on 2020 with COVID and everything, just didn't want to play. He gave up 1 sack. And he's just I don't know. You got to get a left tackle at that spot. You got to protect the quarterback. Burrow had a really bad injury. You got to protect him. Get Sewell. Don't even think about it. Take 2 seconds. Like, all right, I want him. Let's move on. So, seriously, you got to get him. Like, you got to protect Burrow.
It has to be a tackle. If you don't pick one of the two, I think I would look at you.
You got to get a left tackle there.
Yeah, you got to get a tackle.
Like, it's not a sexy pick. Like, O-line is so boring, but, like, you got to do the responsible thing. Like, outside of the quarterback, the left tackle is the most important position on the offensive side of the ball. So you got to get Sewell. That's the pick.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you on that for sure. All right. The 2021 draft, Miami Dolphins select. This is the trade from the Philadelphia Eagles, and we'll go with Projo on this one first. What do you think here? Excuse me. What do you think about the Dolphins? What do you think they're going to go with here? They have wide receiver, edge. I mean, they got their boy now as the quarterback, so they're flying with Tua because they got rid of Fitzmagic. So
yeah, I find it interesting that a lot of people have Chase projected, but just from reading it, I'm just gonna roll with it just because they have the familiarity there with some of the other guys Tua would. But I think it's because when I've watched highlights and listening to Rhett Lewis's scouting report he did on him, he called him a more athletic version of Des Bryant, and also without all the extra sauce that Des Bryant had off the field, of course. So that's good to have that. So I think having him on your team, that would be the guy I would look to for them to add in a guy for Tua, that he's a guy that has to develop, like we said, can do it all running and everything, but has to develop the more staying consistently accurate and consistent through his mechanics and motion type guy. Where I think having someone like Chase, a guy that's a more athletic version of Dez, he's going to have the catch radius and go up and get it. You can just throw it up to this guy, and your stats are going to look a lot sexier than they maybe even should. So I think he's a good guy to help Tua progress a little bit quicker than I think might otherwise.
Yeah, perfect. E-Money, what do you think, Miami Dolphins?
They could go a bunch of different ways, honestly. Jamar Chase in that spot's very popular, but I'm going to say they go and get Devonta Smith just to have him with Tua again. My only concern about Smith is that he's real tiny, but he could just bulk up a couple pounds at some point. And in my opinion, he is the best route runner in that draft. He kind of reminds me of Antonio Brown without being a psycho. Just because they're both small, they both have a very extensive route tree. I think that'd be a good pick. Pair him with Tua again, and just have him gel again. So that's who I think they're going to get.
Okay, cool. I was thinking about either that way, or I was either going to go with Waddle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that would be reuniting those two as well too. Mm-hmm. So you guys both went the wide receiver, and I went, oh, okay. Well, nobody said Waddle, but all right,
three different ones.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So at least we all think they're going to go with the wide receiver. Yeah, right. So I guess in our post-draft reaction, or if we can get money on for a draft show, we might be like, wait, they picked who if they don't?
Yeah, right. Okay. All right. So now we're going to go back to E-Money, and we're going to say Detroit Lions. Now they're the number 7th pick. They made the big deal and traded Jared Goff and Sam Bradford. Now they have Jared Goff now on the team. So now, what do you think about the Detroit Lions at number 7?
You mean Matt Stafford? Sorry to correct you there.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Matt Stafford. They traded to get Jared Goff, and they traded Matt Stafford away.
Right, so, yes. Yeah. I just sorry about that. Yeah. I thought Sam Bradford died. I forgot about him. Anyways, all that aside, Lions need a receiver pretty bad, so I think they get Jamar Chase.
Yeah, if Miami doesn't pick him, if they pick Waddle or whatever, you know what I mean? So is that what you're thinking there, Pro Joe, on that?
Well, I can't give them Jamar Chase, obviously, because I already gave the previous pick Jamar Chase. So I'm going to give them – I would go with Devontae, since Devontae's your safe. You know you're going to get – he's probably the safest pick of your wide receivers. I understand what I'm saying is small size, but we see guys like Cooper Kupp, Edelman, who was not even drafted, do good with their small size. I think he's a guy that just knows how to get it done. He's probably the safe pick. You might as well get him for a guy like Goff, who you just need to get going. So
I'm with you on that for sure. Okay, so now we'll go back to Projo here with the number 8 pick, and that's the Carolina Panthers.
The Panthers, I think, are going to be the other linemen. They have them projected a lot Slater. So since I gave Slater back at the 5th pick, I'm going to go with Penny Sewell here with the Panthers, because I think they're going to go with whatever lineman goes to them. So since Slater was picked prior, he would be. So
that's
I'll go with Sewell.
Yeah. Okay. And E-Money, what you think?
I think Pro Joe made a pretty good point about Slater about 3, 4, 5 minutes ago, where he has that flexibility to line up all over the place on the O-line, where he could play guard or tackle. So I think the Panthers snag him, have a guy to protect Darnold right away.
Yeah.
He's a pretty darn good prospect. So I think that's the guy the Panthers get. So we'll see.
That's where I was going to, since I had another offensive lineman tackle go earlier. So that's where I was going to go to. So, all right, cool. Huh? Okay, the number 9th pick is the Denver Broncos. And, well, I think they might need a quarterback, maybe.
Yeah, I would say so.
What do you think?
Definitely.
All right, so we'll go with Projo on this one. What do you think about the Denver Broncos and the number 9th pick?
It's good. I'm trying to think. I mean, they could use a quarterback, but the Denver Broncos also need a lot. So it's not like they only need a quarterback on their roster. just because we talked about the athleticism and how that helps you from the forefront, Euro line's not the sexiest out there from the forefront. I would go with Trey Lance because he has good throwing ability. You need to learn it a little bit more when it comes to being perfectly poised to do everything, but you're going to be able to run, you're going to be able to pass well enough. He's already a great leader, coming from the same school, oddly enough, as a guy that was traded from the Eagles recently, North Dakota State, as Wentz. So I think he's the guy to get because of what we already said. Athleticism leads you in miles from the get-go if you don't have everything else there first.
Yeah, gotcha. All right, E-Money, what you think?
Trey Lance, they're going to get him.
Yeah. That's a good move for them, I think, too. You know what I mean? Bringing him in there like that. So I think that's a good move. All right, number 10 pick is the Dallas Cowboys, and this is near and dear to the Projo's heart. So we'll go with E-Money first.
Yeah, that's a little interesting. I think they're going to get Patrick Surtain. That's on like a bajillion mocks, but Dallas has needed corner for God knows how long. And again, what I said about 5-10 minutes ago, I think he's the best corner in the entire draft. The dude is just a monster. He'll start day one. Yeah. He has the ceiling to be a multiple-time All-Pro, so that'll be a good pick.
Okay, there you go. Projo, what do you think?
That's what I had to. It's with them or Horn. I think they're going to pick one of the corners, and either of those picks I would hate for going to Dallas because I like both of those guys and I detest Dallas. But
yeah, right.
As much as Stephen A. detests Dallas, I do not.
I'm with you. I was thinking of J.C. Horn or maybe even them going with that linebacker, Jeremiah. Jeremiah Owosu.
Yeah.
That might be something for them too. He's from Notre Dame. He's a junior, but he's very athletic. That could be something they could really need too because they need some defensive help. Definitely there in Dallas.
That's a good pick too because Lee just retired too. Sean Lee.
Right. Exactly.
Sean Lee was always hurt. Yeah.
Exactly. He was good when on the field, but always hurt.
I would get Surtain if he's there.
And/or if Parsons is available, that's where he might go there too. Dallas seems to historically pick Penn State linebackers. Sean Lee was one. You know what I mean? So
that's a good point.
There you go. All right, number 11, New York Giants. This is another team near and dear to the Projo's heart. So we'll go with Projo on this one first. Number 11.
Yeah, for the Giants, I feel like it's going to come down to exactly what they want. Like some people had Kwity Paye here, if you're not concerned with his concussions, just because of how good of an edge rusher and explosive he is from Michigan. So that would depend on their concerns with their concussions. Other people had them go in the corner, J.C. Horn. I'm going to go with, since they could still use help, and they always like having as much help as they can usually on their edge for the Giants. There's not a concussion concern here. So I'll go with the Miami guy, who Daniel Jeremiah has ranked as his most talented edge rusher in the draft, is Jalen Phillips. He has some durability concerns, but it's not from the same, if you get hit once, unfortunate, just thinking that way, and will it affect you for the rest of your career concern. So I'm going to go with Phillips there out of Miami for them.
Okay. And E-Money, who you going there with the Giants in the 11th pick?
I'm going to go with Jalen Waddle. They still need that explosive wide receiver. They paid Golden Tate way too much money. They need another guy that can just do something.
They did sign Galladay, though, remember?
Yeah, but still, though, that
Galladay. Wait, why did I say Golden? Am I thinking of somebody else? Maybe I'm messing up, too. They overpaid somebody who's like an average wide receiver. So I think they get Waddle with that pick.
Yeah, but I like Waddle for that in the Giants there. I think that would be a good mix for them. If they don't go wide receiver, then I was even looking at the other Miami guy, Gregory Rousseau. As an edge rusher for them too. He might be good for them as well too. So all right, we're on to the Professor Joe's team. And it's the Philadelphia Eagles at pick number 12. This is from the San Francisco 49ers via the Miami Dolphins. So all right, Projo, who you taking? Number 1 pick?
I think this is obvious if he falls here just because Jalen Hurts literally said this about Waddle. I saw his athleticism playing basketball, and I always knew he was something special. He fit right in when he came to Alabama. He's a pure playmaker who plays passionate football, and he loves the game. So, and he also was asked in an interview what Alabama player thinks will have the best career, and his answer was Jalen Waddle. So if Waddle's still there at that pick, I think at this point you're the dumbest person to face the earth if you're Howie Roseman And do not pick Jalen Waddle after you see those quotes from your quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, Howie Roseman is kind of an idiot. So
no, he is. Yeah. That's why I thought
he should be fired. He should have been gone like a couple of years ago. He's been drafted like garbage the past couple of years. I'm sorry to rip on your team like that, but dude, last year
I don't know. No.
Justin Jefferson was sitting on their lap, and Howie Roseman was like, "Nah, we're not going to draft him." Like, how do not draft Jefferson?
Year before was even worse though, because every single scout said, "Don't draft J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. Like, do not pick him with this pick." And then Howie Roseman proceeds to go, "You know what I'm going to do? Draft J.J. Arcega-Whiteside." Yeah, it's like, no,
I'm going to do the opposite of the scouts.
Like, I'm paying these professionals to tell me this stuff, but I'm not going to listen to them.
Yeah.
I quite honestly, I have no clue who the Eagles are going to take. They need it. If Waddle can fall to them, okay. You know what I mean?
It's more of they better pick him if he falls to them.
Yeah.
That's a better one. All right, I'll go with that.
Yeah. Right. I didn't get my say. I'm just going to make it super quick. I agree with that.
I was getting there.
I'm sorry. I kind of like jumped the gun. I was getting I was getting a little excited because I know a bunch of Eagles fans. So I
know. That's why this one was a tough team. So
yeah. This one was an interesting one.
Who do you think?
I mean, if Waddle is sitting there, then yeah, that's a no-brainer. But I think, and like I hope it doesn't happen because this guy is like my number one draft crush is Rashad Bateman. I know that's a little high, but like. I really like him. I have him as my number 3 receiver in the draft. I think the dude's a boss. So I think the Eagles go and get him. If they get J.C. Horn, I don't blame him one bit because he's my number 2 corner going in there. But I think they're going to get Bateman.
See, I was thinking about maybe Caleb Farley. Might be something that I mean I don't know.
About his,
I like Horn more.
Yeah, I do too, but I picked him to go earlier. So.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You're right. Yeah.
So,
that's a good point.
All right. Okay. The Los Angeles Chargers are the number 13th pick, and we'll go back to E-Money for that. And what do you think here for the Los Angeles Chargers? What do you think?
I think they're going to get Christian Dariushaw just to protect Justin Herbert, get a left tackle in there. So
yeah,
that's all I have to say about that pick.
That was easy. All right. Projo, what do you think?
It's pretty much the same thing for me. He's a gigantic, over 300 pounds behemoth of a house of a man. If you want to protect Herbert, get him. It's pretty obvious. Yeah.
and you guys are talking about, because I was looking at Elijah Tucker.
Yeah, it's possible.
Tucker,
that's possible.
Because that's another really big dude. Really solid guy, played for USC. I mean, he might be a really good pick for them too. So, all right.
Yeah.
So we both agree with position. We all agree with position again, just different guys.
Just a different player, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, the Minnesota Vikings picking at number 14, and we'll go with Projo on this.
The Vikings are another very interesting team, also because every time I watch the Vikings draft, usually I find myself like going, okay, I think I know what they're going to pick, and never mind.
Yeah, right. They do the same.
So, like, that's normally where I'm at with the Vikings. So I'll just try to throw, I guess, word for the wind here. I wouldn't be surprised. This is something that's been projected for them in a few. If they decide to go with Horn here, since I've seen them projected, they just love having a stacked secondary and. Yeah. Minnesota, that's usually how they build. They build from the trenches, but if you think of some of those best defensive teams in Minnesota, they've had a very good secondary and a physical one. I feel like he plays obviously into that field. J.C. Horn is a guy that I wouldn't mind the Eagles drafting if they don't go receiver because he brings that physical punch to cornerback, which brings the old school to new school mentality, which I kind of like.
Okay. E-Money, who you got there?
So I'll go ahead and I froze for a second. That threw me off. I was like, no, I hope it didn't kick me out. Okay.
No.
Yeah, because I was actually editing one of my picks for later on because I was like, oh, that didn't save. Anyways, I'll make it quick. I think the Vikings get a Kwity Paye. They need that D lineman. The dude's a beast.
That's where I was going.
I think he's a top 3 edge rusher in the draft. He's more of a pure run stopper than he is a guy that's going to get you a bunch of sacks. But I think the Vikings are going to get him. They need some defensive help.
He might be able to be coached up. I was either looking at him or Trevin Moehrig.
Yep.
The safety. is something that I think because they like that stacked back end.
Ooh, and him and Harrison Smith would be filthy.
Right. See, now you're thinking. All right. New England Patriots, and I'm going to go first on this one just because I think this is where you guys have already picked most of all the quarterbacks. This is where I think Justin Fields is going to go. I think he's going to be selected by Bill Belichick, and he's going to be groomed to be the next Bill Belichick quarterback, whatever you want to call it. So that's where I think he's going to go. So we'll go to Projo on this one. Who do you think the Patriots select?
Different quarterback. The guy that I said you have to make sure you have the right coaching and system to have a pocket passer. Bill Belichick, Mac Jones. That's the place he's going to have the most success. That's the place I think he should want to go to the most. And I think it's the place he's going to go to. Some mocks have them projected trading up to 12 to get him. So I think if he's at 15, they're definitely going to get him.
I agree with Projo. Pats are going to get Mac Jones. It has Patriots written all over it.
Okay, I felt that Justin Fields would be more of a better fit there. I just think than him. I think he's going to go. I think Mac Jones is going to go to another team that's a little further down. That's just my opinion, though. So that's why. Okay, all right. Number 16, Arizona Cardinals, and we'll go with E-Money. What do you think, Eric?
Well, the Cardinals need corner really bad, and Patty P is no longer there, so I think they're going to get J.C. Horn with that pick.
Okay, that's a good spot for him.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right, Projo?
I think they need corner help, but considering I already took J.C. Horn off of my board with the 14th pick to the Vikings because of how they like physical corners, if they're not worried about his injuries, Caleb Farley's a heck of a talent. It's just you have to be not worried about his injury. If you think he's fine with that, with his ligaments, he's a hell of a talent. I would pick him at a corner position since you need that position out of E-Tech there.
Yeah. Newsom, Greg Newsom, I was looking at from Northwestern. He might
the other corner?
Yeah. He might be other slot in there too. So we all picked the same position, just different players. Imagine how that works. All right. Las Vegas Raiders. Boy, that's a mouthful to get used to saying. Las Vegas Raiders. Wait a minute. How many names have they had now? All right. So we'll go with Projo on this one here now with the Las Vegas Raiders. What do you think at pick number 17?
Right now, I think this team could still use more of a spunk they could still use more of their defense too, but what's more exciting to watch for their fans, offense. So I'll go with if Bateman's there, I like him a lot too. The article I read the other day for USA Today had him ranked 12th out of his top 50 prospects. So this guy obviously really likes him. He said he's not as refined, but when he gets open, he's a guy that you just know is going to conceal the ball and catch it every single time it's thrown from. You're not going to have to worry about those early of the career drop rates you have with some other receivers. So I feel like getting a guy that if you still have Derek Carr or whoever the heck you decide to have as your quarterback, since you never know what's going on out there with that, then he's a good guy to have just as a nice security blanket that's just going to get better and better over time, but start as a very good security blanket at least.
Okay. All right. E-Money, who do you think about those Las Vegas Raiders?
I have Micah Parsons in there. They need a linebacker, and in my opinion, Micah Parsons is the best linebacker in the draft. The dude is just an awesome run stopper, good blitzer. Definitely one of the best players in the draft, in my opinion, and I think that's going to be the Raiders' pick. So he'll be their groove and grinder.
Okay, I think Kwity Paye is going to go there. That's where I think he's because that just seems like that's a fit for the Raiders, that they would take a chance on him even with his concussion issues and stuff like that. I think he's going to fall to them. So all right,
that's possible.
Now the Miami Dolphins are picking again at number 18. Let's go with E-Money. What do you think about that Miami Dolphins? Another pick in the first round.
Yeah, so they're interesting. They've had so many draft picks the past few years, and I think they have a loaded draft again next year, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't know. Anyways, I think they're going to get Tevin Jenkins in there. He's more of a right tackle, and that's Tua's blind side. And you have to protect Tua because it hasn't been that long ago since he had that bad hip injury. Yeah. So I think Tevin Jenkins is going to go right to them.
Okay. All right. And Projo, what do you think about this one here for the Miami Dolphins' first round pick?
For me, I was between Paye and Gregory Rousseau, the other edge rusher, one from Michigan for Paye, the other from Miami. Due to just how I would have them ranked by a smidge, I would go with Kwity Paye here, and just put him there because they also could use edge rushing. A lot of the mocks I've read had them getting one of those two if they drop. I just go with him. He's a little bit ranked higher in my eyes and the experts' eyes, so I'll go off of them with that and go with him there.
I'm wondering if maybe if Najee might go there.
I mean, Dolphins.
Yeah. I mean that would be another Alabama player there with Tua. What do you think, E-Money?
I mean, it's possible. They may as well just rename their team the Bama Dolphins at the anyways, I don't really think they need a running back that bad. They're more of like a run by committee system. I think you got to get a guy to protect Tua with that pick.
Yeah. I'm with you. All right. Okay. All right. So we got number 19 here. This is the Washington football team at number 19, and we'll go with E-Money. What do you think?
I think they're gonna get Jeremiah Owasu Cormier. I don't even know. I can't pronounce that last name, but JOK. I think that's the guy they're going to get. That dude's a beast. A little small for a linebacker, but there's a really good video by Brett Coleman on YouTube. That dude knows like everything about football, and he really broke him down very well. Probably the best coverage linebacker in the entire draft. So I think Washington just makes its defense even more dangerous.
Okay. All right. And Projo?
Their team, I mean, we saw when Heineke first came in, he played well, but had to still run around like a wild man at times to get to the outside. Like he scored that one touchdown because of their O-line. So being he'll be here on my draft, I didn't put Tucker in there yet. I would go with Vera Tucker just from UFC, who can play their left tackle or left guard position. And I think they could use help at line still to keep building up there because we saw issues with that when Smith was in for a short time and with Heineke having to run for his life.
Right. So who's the quarterback there in Washington now? Because
Fitzpatrick.
Fitzpatrick
Fitz
now,
or
yeah.
Heineke, yeah, because they're both roster,
So that's where I thought that's what I was picking Mac Jones to go there, to go to Washington because they need a quarterback, I think.
Yeah, if he falls.
That would be a perfect thing for Riviera to bring in a quarterback and be able to groom him and stuff like that. I think that would be a good system for them too. If not, I was either going to go with the Jason Owe, the edge from Penn State, to fall to them too. So, okay, all right, Chicago, number 20. What do you think? Projo, what do you think?
The Bears could use a lot of things. So this one is kind of a what do you think they're going to get the most type of thing, I guess. But I feel like they at this point should just go with you could use a very good solidify your deep rushing core. I said Payne should go to the Dolphins, so I'll go with Rousseau, who'd still be there. Then on mine, who's a guy that some of the guys said was second. He was second only, first of all, to Chase Young in sacks in 2019. And some people say if he could hit his ceiling, it wouldn't be too below that. So obviously that's a heck of a player to get at that point of the draft.
Yeah.
So I would definitely go with Gregory Rousseau out of Miami there. Get somebody that seems like a very high potential guy.
I'm with you. All right. Okay, cool. E-Money?
I think they're going to get Elijah Moore with that pick. They need some receiver help.
That's what I was going to select too.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah, because I agree. Because they need some receiver help bad. They need somebody to throw the ball to down there big time. So I'll go with that one. All right.
They need half of a roster to be honest.
I mean, you know, they need so much that they need.
There's a lot. There's a lot.
All right. Okay. Number 21 pick, Indianapolis Colts. E-Money, go.
I'm going to go with Elijah Vera Tucker right there. I almost forgot to put him in my first round mock. I was like, this guy has to be in there. He's like very highly rated, and O-line is so important. So I think the Colts are going to get him, get a guy to protect Carson Wentz, and hope Wentz remembers how to play quarterback. So,
all right, Projo, who do you think?
A lot of the things I've used them at was getting an edge rusher where this one I always botch his name, but Azeez Ojulari from
Azeez, I like him a lot.
From Georgia. I feel like he's a guy they're getting. He's a guy that everyone thinks is at least going to be, from all the scouting reports I read, an average, steady NFL player, and then has the potential to be much more. So you might as well go with that. We know how much the trenches matter, even more so, becoming more important in today's game. That's how the Eagles at least stay decent when they actually suck, because they have decent trenches usually. So
Yeah.
that I think that's a good pick for the Colts.
Okay. I'm gosh, man. I was gonna probably try to maybe put Jalen Phillips in there.
Mm.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was thinking about him. So, all right. All right, we got 22 pick here, Tennessee Titans. Pro Joe, what do you think?
This one I still didn't have Newsome picked on my board, so I would be kind of surprised at this point if the Titans, because I've literally opened a bunch of mock drafts and swear I've seen 5 that, and with my own eyes, that have had him picked here if he falls. So I just have a feeling, to me, it's just a no-brainer. He provides them with a very good young cornerback duo, to continue to grow with for the future.
I got you. All right, E-Money.
Well, it was interesting that you mentioned Jalen Phillips. I have him going to the Titans. They need pass rush help bad.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you on that. I mean, yeah, with what I look at, I'm with you on that one, Pro Joe. That Aziz Alurier.
Yeah, I like him a lot.
He's a big dude, man. He's only a sophomore coming out too, but slightly undersized, but man, he's got some speed, man. So we'll see how he can do. All right. On the 23rd pick, this is the second one now for the New York Jets. And we'll go with E-Money on this one. What do you think?
I've been kind of torn with a couple people, but I think Moreg is going to go there. Trayvon Moreg, get somebody to replace, I don't even know if I pronounced his last name right, but whatever. Get somebody to replace Jamal Adams, make that defense better on the back end. So I think he's going to go
Good
there.
Call. Yeah, good call. What do you think, Pro Joe?
Well, you were right with E-Money on the one pick a couple minutes ago. Can Potter go with this one? It's the same thing I said when it came to Slater. He's also versatility in who he can cover in his coverage roles in the secondary as a safety, and also some experts that I've read think he could also play corner if you need him to. So I think having that combined with his great skill would be a good thing to bring into a system that needs plenty of help in those roles as well. So that would be a good pick for me also.
Yeah, I like that all the way around. Yeah, I like that all the way around. Okay.
Cool.
Here we go. Steelers number 24, and we'll go with
you go first. It's your team.
All right. There was a lot of guys on this list here, and most of all of them are the ones that I would have really liked to have seen to go to Pittsburgh are going to probably be gone. Most of those offensive linemen, because they need offensive line help badly, and I don't want to just settle for somebody. And the other player that I've really had my eye on has been Pat Fairmouth from Penn State. Okay, and or if the other Penn State player, that Owe, if he's available, I would like to see either one of those two players go to Pittsburgh if they're available. I don't know if they're going to be, but I really think a good tight end in there in Pittsburgh would be good for them, because McDonald just retired. They picked a guy. They did pick a guy last year, and then we also got a dude from Indianapolis, Eric Ebron, last year. So, but we run a lot of 2 tight end sets. Okay, so we need that other tight end that's that 6'6", that prototypical Gronk player. I'd like to see him putting on Pittsburgh colors. That's just me. All right, E-Money, what do you think?
Yeah, it's appropriate that I'm going second since I'm a Ravens fan. So I think I'm not really big on Oweya, honestly. He just doesn't have the production that warrants a first-round pick, even though his 40 time is a 4.39, which is insane for a guy that size.
Yeah,
I think Pittsburgh should get Najee Harris with that pick. I like him a lot. He's my number 1 running back coming out. They need a running back. Get that run game going. He's like a power running back kind of guy. Pittsburgh, I feel like throughout a lot of the years was kind of built on that power run game. Maybe just bring that back a little bit.
I hear what you're saying, but honestly, I don't think that Najee Harris I don't think he's going to be here available for the Steelers. I think he's going to go earlier. And quite honestly, I don't really want him because I think the room that the Steelers have right now, let's try and win with those guys first.
Yeah.
Because we already got 4 guys in the backfield right now. Why do we need to bring in somebody else? We had a number 1 draft pick last year, or a 4th-round draft pick last year out of Maryland, right? Anthony McFarland, same build, same kind of speed. Actually, he's faster. McFarland is faster in the 40.
True.
Okay. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
right?
I hear you.
I don't want to see us draft another running back and waste a first-round draft pick on a running back. I want to see us either get a wide receiver or a tight end or a cornerback or an edge rusher or a linebacker. If Micah Parsons is available, take him.
He'll be gone by then.
He'll be gone. But
that's different. If he's magically available, yeah, you have to take him.
Or trade up to get him. Seriously. All right. Pro Joe, what do you think?
I actually have, just because he's all over the place in mocks, the aforementioned Micah Parsons. One, because all the guys that didn't play last year are all over in mocks. If you look at mocks, Farley, Parsons, others, they're just, it's like all over the place. But if he's there, I think you have to take him because you're making your linebacking core ridiculous at that point. You got Watt there who can slide and also play so you can put him wherever you want, really. And then you also are bringing in Micah Parsons. I think he would be the perfect pick if he's still there. The only other guy, if he's not there, just how good his last name's Barmore. So like Christian Barmore, I think is how you say it, from Alabama. Yep. When I've read about him, they said his display of how much he can just disrupt the passing game is ridiculous, where he just needs to get more consistent, and that's what the coaches would have to work on. So if Parsons isn't there, I would go with him, but if Parsons is there, I would go with Parsons.
With you. All right. We got number 25, Jacksonville. This is their second first-round pick here. What do you think, Pro Joe?
For the Jaguars, you could still use a little bit of help on your offensive line, and they have the guy that played with Fields here, and I'm actually going to roll right with you, Patrick Williams pick. This is who I had actually locked up. Wyatt Davis from Ohio State. You might as well protect your guys there. He's a guy that Urban Meyer obviously still has a lot of people that he's in line with when it comes to Ohio State that he can still talk to, so I'm sure he knows a lot about him. So I think that's somebody they'll go with there just because of that connection also.
Okay, what do you think, E-Money?
That's a pretty interesting take. I didn't think about that. I think this is where Caleb Farley falls down to. I think he'll have a little bit of a fall just because of the injuries and everything like that. And Jags need pretty much anything, really. So I think they're going to get Caleb Farley.
Right. I was thinking more of Jalen Mayfield, that interior O-line. I think that would be a good slide for them because they're going to need some of that, you know what I mean, especially moving forward. Okay, Cleveland Browns, number 26. What do you think there, E-Money? This is
my favorite edge rusher of the class. I think they get Aziz with this pick. I just like what he brings to the table, and I think he'll help out with that Cleveland defense.
Okay, and Pro Joe, what do you think?
I didn't have him picked yet, so I'm going to go with, I really like, because of pure speed and how he can just beat defenses, get a guy that you know is just a pure deep threat. Also, I think Odell's going to be out of there sooner rather than later. Get Elijah Moore out of Ole Miss. You can just have Baker just go, whoop, and then he's just going to catch up to the ball and catch it. So
see, now that's
the guy that I want.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was thinking. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what I was thinking on that one too. All right, number 27, here we go. It's your team, buddy, E-Money.
Yeah.
Baltimore Ravens at number 27. What do you think?
I want Bateman real bad. That's my number one desire, but he'll be gone by then. So my number 2 desire would be Terrence Marshall Jr. I would be very happy if the Ravens got him. He can play that X. He can play that Z. You can kind of line him up all around. The dude's a pretty big body. I think he's like 6'2". I think he's like 210 or something like that. He can just go up and get it. He's money with the 50-50 ball, so that would be very awesome if the Ravens got him. That's who I'm going with.
Okay. Pro Joe, what do you think?
I would say, I would think he's going to be there. I would go with Marshall because the perfect way to explain it is how the one scouting report I saved here for Word to go over is he played in the shadow of Chase and Jefferson, which is just completely true. Once he came out of that, he was able to emerge this year and really have his best season. And looking at it here, his 438-second 40-yard dash at 6'2", 205. So yeah, like right around where you said, E-Money.
Yeah.
That's great to have that speed combined with size there to bring into any organization, especially when you have a guy that has a cannon of an arm that can just throw it up there to you and you can go up and catch it. So.
Yeah. If he's available, yeah, but if not, I'm going to go with Joe Tyron, the edge rusher there out of Washington. Yeah, because I think
that's what Brett Lewis has for them.
Yeah, if he doesn't go there, then it might be that lineman Christian Darrisaw might go to you guys too. Might go to the Baltimore because you guys. Yeah. So all right. Let's see here. Number 28, New Orleans Saints. Let's go with Projo.
The Saints. For the Saints, since I actually did not have him taken yet, just because I didn't have linebackers, I'm just double checking because I'm surprised I didn't have him taken yet in my head on my mock, but I didn't. So since I didn't, congratulations, Saints. You're going to get the Notre Dame linebacker, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, if he drops all the way to there. So if the linebacking core, it kind of goes along with what we said. If a lot of quarterbacks get taken and a lot of receivers get taken, it keeps pushing these linemen, D-backs, and everybody down, that there's a chance he could be there. So if he's there, I think at that point the Saints would kind of be stupid if they don't take him when they could use more help at that said position also. So
yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah, I'd have to agree with you on that. If not, go ahead, E-Money, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I think Pro Joe makes an excellent point. I mean, yeah, if JOK is there for the Saints, you have to take him, but he'll be gone by then. I think the Saints, this might be a bit of a curveball, but I think they're going to get Kadarius Toney. I think he just matches that system. I think that's just the right fit for him. I think that could be the best fit for him. I'm not too high on him, but like he kind of reminds me of like a Percy Harvin-esque receiver. He's very shifty, very good in short space. You can kind of line him up all over the place. Sean Payton likes to use gadget players like that. So I think he would be the perfect fit for that system. So I'm going to go with Kadarius Toney to the Saints.
Wow, there you go. Okay. I like the pick that Projo did, and it's going to be tough for these guys too. You know what I mean? I like what Projo picked for that one. So we'll go with the Green Bay Packers at number 29, and we'll go with E-Money on that one. Who do you think here for the Green Bay Packers?
Well, it's the annual, will they get a wide receiver in the first round? I hated the Jordan Love pick last year. I think Rodgers hated that too. So I think the Packers will go linebacker here. They need a linebacker. They need to work on that defense a little bit more. That offense is already deadly. They'll probably get a receiver in the second round. I think they're going to get Zaven Collins with that pick. That dude is a beast. I like him a lot. He's probably my third-rated linebacker going into this draft. So I think he'll be a Green Bay Packer on Thursday night.
Okay. And what do you think there, Projo?
I think they might go receiver in first round just because we saw guys like Rondale Moore from Purdue are not the most prototypical pick, a guy that's 5'7", 180 that's just explosive in the open field. But now that we see guys like Tyreek Hill, there we go. Really performing so well as that short guy that can just be great in the open field and actually has been more durable than anybody expected. I think he's a guy, his speed in the open field is kind of without rival in his class. I would go with that because you have Aaron Rodgers as your damn quarterback too. So you know the ball's going to get accurate to Moore to Rondale Moore. And once it gets to him, he's just going to be Audi 500. So I would just go with that.
Right. I'm going Kadarius Toney on this one for them. So I think that's going to be a good fit for them. That's their number one draft pick wide receiver. So, all right, Buffalo Bills at number 30, and we will go with Projo on this one.
I want Josh Allen, who's one of my favorite quarterbacks in the league, honestly, to have one of the more steady games where it's not all on his shoulders running around and throwing. So since I have him falling to here, I'm going to go with Harris to just know you can solidify the running game. You have some guys in-house now that you go, man, like maybe they can do something. But this is just, you can solidify the running game. That's why I'm going with Harris. You have a even more disgusting team. You already had a disgusting one last year. This will take it to the next level. If he can stay healthy, I'm going with Harris here if he's there.
Right. See, that's where I was going to go with that as well, too. That's why I didn't think he was going to go to Pittsburgh. I thought he was going to go more so with that. Excuse me. Also, Pittsburgh said that they were not going to draft a player that had opted out. So if Micah Parsons is there, they're probably not going to take him. Which, I mean, I think that's.
Have to.
I know, but I'm just saying. But so
I hear you.
Yeah. Okay. So. All right.
Wait. I didn't say my.
Go ahead. E-Money, go ahead.
I agree with running back, but I think they're going to get Travis Etienne. I probably pronounced it wrong, but whatever. I think they're going to get him. They need a running back. He can catch the ball, all that. So that's what they're going to get.
All right. We got number 31, Kansas City Chiefs.
No, Ravens. We had that trade.
Oh, the trade. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, we traded Orlando Brown. It's okay. It's
Okay.
okay. It just happened like 2 days ago, not that long ago.
Okay.
Yeah, we traded Orlando Brown away to the Chiefs, basically to get to that spot. Long story short, other draft picks were involved, blah, blah, blah. So with the 31st pick, I think we could go different ways. I think we're going to get Creed Humphrey with that pick. That dude looked like a pretty good center in college. I don't think he even allowed a single sack. I've been kind of reviewing him a little bit since we made that trade because we need a center that can hike a football. I don't know if any of you saw that Ravens-Patriots game last year. Our center was like pretty much the reason why we lost that game. He just can't hike a football. Yeah. So we need center. Center's pretty thin this year, in my opinion. It's not really that stacked as opposed to tackle guard. So I think we get Creed Humphrey with that pick. And I have a bold one for the next one.
Okay. Go ahead, Pro Joe. Who do you think?
This one I have a different line, man. I have I usually go off of I always liked following Lewis and Jeremiah, so I usually trust him pretty good. He has Dylan Radunes, I think I said that right, from North Dakota State going there because he said how he can play. He thinks Phil's kind of Brown's boy that you left in the trade. He had him going to the Chiefs. He pretty much said this team needs a line help still, and he can even play the center position if you want to put him there. He thinks as well. So it's a win-win. You can kind of replace the lineman you got rid of, but have the flexibility to maybe play him at the position you need the most too. So
yeah, I was either thinking of either Dylan Radins, is that how you say it, or Landon Dickerson for that pick there for that. So all right. Number 32, last pick. Here we go. Tampa Bay Bucks. We'll go with E-Money first. Go ahead.
Yeah, I raised my hand.
It's not school, man.
Yeah, I know. I'm just messing around.
That's all right, bro.
I have a bold one, but even though their defense was just filthy in the Super Bowl, I think they still need a corner. Their corners aren't that great, and a lot of people think that this guy is maybe a second-round talent. Some people have him in the first. I think they're going to get Asante Samuel Jr. And the reason, oh, you say that too. Nice. That's right. Yeah, the reason why I say that is because, one, they need corner. Yeah. Two, Tom Brady gets what Tom Brady wants. He's probably telling the team, hey, look, like I played with this guy's dad. Like he's got a football family. Let's get Asante Samuel Jr.
Oh, my gosh, this guy. He's a shutdown corner.
He's good. He's a top 5 corner going into the draft. I'm not like, I mean, he's a little small, a little scrappy, but I think Tampa goes with him. Just that Tom Brady and Samuel's dad, that connection there. I just think Tom's going to be, look, I played with his dad. Let's just get this guy. His dad was a good corner.
Yeah.
And I feel old. I'm like, man, his dad was playing. His dad was a beast for the Patriots and the Eagles. So I think Tampa gets him and Tom gets to play with Junior. So
yeah, I agree. What do you think, Pro Joe?
I think that makes sense of the connection. I didn't think of that because of his dad, but if they don't go that, you can get the 2 tight end set. I don't want to mention the name, but that you once had in New England, not mentioning.
Yeah, he was quite a killer.
Yeah. But if you get Pat Fairmouth, I know that drafted him in the Fairmouth in the second round.
Yeah.
This guy in his scouting report, and I've seen 3 people mention this at this point, called him either the mini Gronk, the baby Gronk, the little Gronk, whatever adjective you want to use.
He's 6'5", 240
pounds. You want to have him on your team and team him with a guy that's great with tight ends. Again, like I said about Pitch going with Matt Ryan, I would pick him because you have the 2 tight ends set again, and who better to learn when you call somebody the baby Gronk than Gronk. So
I mean,
it's still there. Yeah. So I mean, it's just going to be. It seems like a perfect fit for me.
There you go.
Go with
I
Sam.
like it.
So I would go with Fairmouth. Yeah.
I like it. Well, there you have it, folks, man. We did our first round mock draft, all 32 teams. Sorry it was a little longer than we originally thought it was going to be, but we were able to get all 32 teams in there. We got Pro Joe's picks and we got E-Money's picks. We'd like to thank you all very much for watching. Please hit the like and subscribe. E-Money, how can we follow you? Where can we find all your great stuff? Where can we see your great stuff?
I appreciate you asking that. I actually got rid of it because I'm like thinking I'm just too busy and I wasn't like making much anyway. So I'm like, I mean, I'll definitely do videos on here and everything like that and just kind of change my game up like that. But
okay,
you know, I'm retiring from podcasting.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, there you go. Okay. Well, we're glad to have you on then.
Oh, yeah. I'm happy to be on there for sure.
Cool. All right. Well, Pro Joe, where do you think, where can we get all your stuff and where can we find you and how can we get involved in all the great stuff that you're putting out?
You can, of course, find me on SteelFlyers.com along with all the other great people we have on there. And you can find me on the Sports Fanatic News YouTube page and at JJBorek26 on Twitter. Thank you for having me on, and we thank everyone for joining. And as always, please subscribe to Steel Flyers Fine channel on YouTube as well.
Thank you very much. You can find me on Twitter at SteelFlyers52. You can find Projo on the Twitter as well, too. And you can find us all at www.steelflyers.com. Thank you all very much for watching. This was the NFL pre-draft mock draft. Yeah, there you go. All right. Thank you all very much. Just remember, folks, stay strong, stay safe, and hang tough.